This month is not opening randomly. The universe is moving you into a higher timeline, and your life is beginning to rise with it. Take a deep breath and allow yourself to arrive in this moment fully, not halfway, not while holding the old fear in the background, not while carrying every worry from the past month into this new space. Just arrive here, slowly, gently, with the part of you that still believes life can become more beautiful than it has been. This month is not opening randomly. This moment is not here by accident. Something in your energy is ready to rise into a higher level now. Something in your life is beginning to call you forward. And even if you do not see every detail yet, there is a deeper part of you that can already feel it. You are being invited into a higher timeline, a version of life that asks you to trust more deeply, choose more honestly, receive more openly, and stop carrying the energy of the old version of yourself into a door that was built for your growth. Take another deep breath and allow your body to understand that you are safe to begin again. You are safe to enter this month with a different energy. You are safe to release the need to control every detail before you allow yourself to believe. You are safe to trust the universe without knowing exactly how everything will unfold. Because trust does not mean you know the entire path. Trust means you are willing to keep moving with your soul when the path is still forming. And this month, your path is forming in a higher way. Not only through fast change, not only through obvious signs, not only through dramatic moments, but through quiet inner shifts, through stronger intuition, through clearer desires, through the feeling that something old no longer fits, through the realization that your energy is ready for more peace, more freedom, more abundance, more confidence, more alignment, more of the life that feels like it truly belongs to you. The universe is not asking you to stay attached to the old story. The universe is not asking you to keep proving that you are worthy through struggle. The universe is not asking you to keep shrinking your desires so they feel easier to explain. The universe is guiding you into a timeline where you stop apologizing for wanting more from life. A timeline where you stop treating your dreams like they are too much. A timeline where you stop making yourself smaller just because the old environment could only understand the smaller version of you. You are allowed to rise now, not with guilt, not with fear, not with the need to make everyone comfortable, but with the quiet knowing that your life is allowed to expand. Take a slow breath and let these words settle inside you. Your higher timeline is opening. Your energy is rising. Your life is beginning to align with a new version of you. The old patterns are losing their hold. The old fears are becoming less convincing. The old limits are starting to feel too small. That is not confusion. That is growth. That is the beginning of a deeper alignment. Sometimes when your life is about to move into a higher timeline, the old reality begins to feel heavier first. Not because you are going backward, but because your spirit can no longer pretend that what once felt normal is still enough. You may notice that certain conversations no longer reach you. Certain habits no longer feel satisfying. Certain places no longer feel like home. Certain versions of yourself no longer feel real. And that can feel strange, but it is not a sign that you are lost. It is a sign that you are waking up inside your own life. You are beginning to recognize what belongs to the old timeline and what belongs to the new one. You are beginning to understand what feels aligned and what only feels familiar. And this awareness changes everything. Because once you know the difference between alignment and familiarity, you can no longer choose from the same unconscious place. You begin choosing with more clarity. You begin moving with more intention. You begin listening to the quiet truth inside you instead of the old fear around you. This month is helping you do that. This month is helping you return to your inner authority. This month is helping you trust the universe and trust yourself at the same time. Because the universe can guide you, but you still need to become the person who listens. The signs can appear, but you still need to honor what they awaken in you. The door can open, but you still need to walk through it with the version of you that is ready for more. And you are becoming that version now. Breath by breath, choice by choice, thought by thought. You are not entering this higher timeline by force. You are entering it by alignment. You are entering it by releasing what no longer matches. You are entering it by becoming honest about what your soul already knows. You are entering it by trusting that the universe can move in ways your mind has not planned yet. Take another deep breath and allow yourself to release the pressure of needing proof immediately. Some things are already moving before they are visible. Some blessings are already forming before they reach your hands. Some doors are already opening before your eyes recognize the doorway. Some answers are already on the way before your mind hears them clearly. The universe works through timing, through intuition, through redirection, through endings, through pauses, through sudden opportunities, through quiet feelings that pull you toward something different. Nothing about your life is as random as it sometimes seems. There is movement beneath the surface. There is organization behind the scenes. There is alignment forming in places you cannot fully see yet. And this month, you are being asked to trust that movement, not blindly, but deeply, with the part of you that knows life has guided you before, with the part of you that has survived every season you once thought you could not survive, with the part of you that still believes something better is possible. You are not here to repeat the past. You are here to rise from it. You are not here to carry the old energy into every new beginning. You are here to become lighter, clearer, more powerful, more connected to the version of yourself who can finally receive without shrinking. Your higher timeline is not only about receiving more from life. It is about becoming the version of you who no longer rejects more through fear. More love, more money, more visibility, more peace, more opportunity, more freedom, more support, more of the experiences that reflect your true energy. You are allowed to receive those things. You are allowed to let good things enter without bracing for disappointment. You are allowed to stop treating every blessing like something that must disappear. You are allowed to let abundance feel safe. You are allowed to let the universe meet you in a softer way. Take a slow breath and let your body receive this. You are safe to receive more this month. You are safe to be guided this month. You are safe to rise this month. You are safe to trust what is opening this month. You are safe to become the version of yourself this new timeline requires. You are safe to stop choosing the old version of life out of habit. You are safe to step forward even when the next step feels new. Because new does not mean wrong. New does not mean unsafe. New does not mean impossible. Sometimes new is exactly what alignment feels like when you have been living inside old patterns for too long. Sometimes new feels unfamiliar because your soul is finally moving beyond survival. Sometimes new feels intense because your identity is expanding beyond the limits it once accepted. You are allowed to let this month feel new. You are allowed to let life surprise you. You are allowed to let your future arrive in a form that is better than your old expectations. The universe is opening a higher timeline for you now. And this timeline may not look exactly like what your old self imagined. It may be wiser, it may be cleaner, it may be more aligned with the person you have become. It may remove things you thought you needed. It may bring things you did not know how to ask for. It may change your direction in ways that make sense later. It may ask you to trust before everything is explained. And you are allowed to trust. You are allowed to say yes to the higher path, even when the old path still feels familiar. You are allowed to say yes to expansion, even when the old identity still asks for safety. You are allowed to say yes to your own future, even when part of you still questions whether you are ready. Because readiness is not perfection. Readiness is willingness. Willingness to grow. Willingness to receive. Willingness to release the old story. Willingness to stop shrinking. Willingness to let the universe guide you into a version of life that finally matches your energy. Take another deep breath and imagine that this month is a doorway. You are standing in front of it now. Behind you is the energy you have already outgrown. Old doubts, old attachments, old limitations, old versions of yourself that only knew how to survive. And in front of you is the energy you are rising into. Clarity, freedom, abundance, peace, a stronger relationship with yourself, a deeper trust in life, a reality that reflects who you are becoming now. You do not need to run through this doorway. You do not need to panic. You do not need to know every detail on the other side. You only need to take one honest step. One step away from the fear that keeps you small. One step toward the truth that feels alive inside you. one step into a version of yourself that no longer needs to ask the past for permission. This month, you are taking that step. And as you take it, something begins to shift around you. Your energy becomes clearer. Your choices become sharper. Your intuition becomes louder. Your standards become stronger. Your future becomes more believable. This is what happens when you begin aligning with a higher timeline. The outer world may not change all at once, but the inner world begins to reorganize. And the inner world is where reality begins. Your thoughts become different. Your relationship with receiving becomes different. Your sense of what is possible becomes different. Your tolerance for misalignment becomes different. Your ability to choose yourself becomes different. And because you become different, life begins meeting you differently too. The universe responds to the energy you embody. It responds to the identity you keep choosing. It responds to the way you open or close around what is meant for you. It responds to the standards you decide to live from. And this month, you are choosing higher standards. Not standards built from arrogance, but standards built from self-recognition, the recognition that your energy matters. Your peace matters. Your future matters. Your desires matter. The way you feel inside your life matters. You are allowed to choose a life that feels aligned with your spirit. You are allowed to stop negotiating with the parts of life that keep pulling you away from yourself. You are allowed to let the universe guide you toward a reality where your inner and outer worlds begin to match. A reality where the way you live feels closer to the truth of who you are. A reality where money supports your freedom. A reality where relationships support your peace. A reality where opportunities support your growth. A reality where success does not require you to abandon your own soul. This is the higher timeline. Not only more, but more aligned. Not only success, but success that feels true. Not only abundance, but abundance that feels safe. Not only change, but change that brings you closer to yourself. Take a slow breath and let these words settle. You are moving closer to the life that recognizes you. You are moving closer to the energy that supports you. You are moving closer to the version of yourself that no longer lives from fear. The universe is not asking you to become someone fake. It is guiding you back to someone real, someone clearer, someone stronger, someone more honest, someone more open to receiving, someone who can trust the timing without collapsing into panic, someone who can let old doors close without believing life is ending, someone who can walk toward new doors without needing everyone else to understand. You are becoming that someone. You are becoming the person this higher timeline can meet. And that matters, because some opportunities do not enter until the old identity releases control. Some blessings do not feel safe until your nervous system learns that abundance can stay. Some relationships do not align until you stop accepting unclear energy as proof of love. Some financial growth does not stabilize until you stop seeing money only through the lens of fear. Some dreams do not become real until you stop treating them like impossible fantasies. This month is helping you release the old lens, the lens of fear, the lens of lack, the lens of survival, the lens of always expecting disappointment. And through that release, you begin to see differently. You begin to see possibilities where before you only saw obstacles. You begin to see openings where before you only saw delay. You begin to see support where before you felt alone. You begin to see that life may have been preparing you, not punishing you. You begin to see that the universe may have been protecting your path through timing you did not understand. You begin to see that what is meant for the higher version of you still knows how to find you. And that changes the way you breathe, the way you choose, the way you move, the way you wait, the way you receive. Because when you trust the universe, waiting stops feeling like abandonment. It begins to feel like preparation. When you trust the universe, redirection stops feeling like rejection. It begins to feel like guidance. When you trust the universe, endings stop feeling like failure. They begin to feel like space being created. And this month, space is being created. Space for what aligns. Space for what supports. Space for what expands. Space for what reflects the person you are becoming. Take another deep breath and allow yourself to stop holding on so tightly to the old version of the plan. The old plan may have been created from an old identity. The old timeline may have been created from an old fear. The old dream may have been shaped by what you thought you were allowed to want. But your energy has changed. Your awareness has changed. Your connection to yourself has changed. So let the vision evolve too. Let the universe bring you something better than the version your fear tried to control. Let the path open in a way that fits the person you are now. Let your desires become clearer. Let your standards become stronger. Let your trust become deeper. Let your life become more honest. Because this month is not only about receiving new things. It is about becoming the version of you who can live inside a new reality without running back to the old one. You are allowed to stay in the new energy. You are allowed to stay in the higher choice. You are allowed to stay available for the blessing, even when fear tells you to close. You are allowed to hold the vision without demanding immediate proof. You are allowed to believe in what is forming, even while it is still invisible. Invisible does not mean unreal. Quiet does not mean absent. Slow does not mean wrong. Life can be working for you in ways that do not announce themselves yet. The universe can be arranging things with a precision your mind cannot track. And one day you may look back at this month and realize that so much began here. A decision, a release, a new belief, a doorway, a shift in your energy. A moment where you stopped asking the old story to define what was possible. This month can become that moment for you. The moment you begin choosing the higher timeline with more trust. The moment you stop shrinking around old fear. The moment you stop treating your desires like something dangerous. The moment you let the universe guide you into more peace, more abundance, more clarity, more freedom, more of the life that feels like it belongs to you. Take a slow breath and allow your body to become familiar with this truth. More is allowed for you. Higher is allowed for you. Better is allowed for you. A life that feels aligned is allowed for you. A life that feels freer is allowed for you. A life that feels more abundant is allowed for you. You are not asking for too much. You are asking for what your soul recognizes as possible. And that recognition is sacred. Do not dismiss it. Do not reduce it. Do not explain it away. Do not call your highest desires unrealistic simply because the old reality has not shown them to you yet. The old reality is not the final authority. Your past is not the final authority. Your fear is not the final authority. Your life is still opening. Your energy is still rising. Your future is still forming. And this month is part of that formation. This month is not here to repeat every old limitation. This month is here to help you see what happens when you trust yourself more deeply, when you listen more closely, when you choose with more courage, when you stop holding back your real energy, when you begin walking as if the higher timeline is not fantasy but direction. Because it is direction. It is the direction of the version of you who knows there is more. It is the direction of the life that feels honest. It is the direction of the future that keeps calling, even when you try to settle. And settling will feel harder now. Not because life is trying to make you uncomfortable, but because your soul is becoming too awake to sleep inside old limits. You are awake now. Awake to your worth. Awake to your desires. Awake to your energy. Awake to the truth that life can be different. And this awakening is part of the higher timeline. Take another deep breath and let yourself receive these words. The universe is guiding you upward. Your life is rising into a higher alignment. This month opens a new level of trust. This month opens a new level of receiving. This month opens a new level of self-recognition. This month opens a new level of peace. This month opens a new level of abundance. You are not being pulled backward. You are being invited forward. And what is forward may feel unfamiliar at first, but unfamiliar does not mean unsafe. Unfamiliar can mean you are no longer repeating the same cycle. Unfamiliar can mean your energy has entered a new room. Unfamiliar can mean your life is learning a new rhythm. Unfamiliar can mean your future is finally getting closer. So do not run back to the old only because the new feels different. Do not call the old safe only because you know how it feels. There is a deeper safety available now. The safety of being aligned with yourself. The safety of trusting your own knowing. The safety of receiving what feels right. the safety of choosing a life that does not require constant self-abandonment. That is the safety your higher timeline is teaching you, not control, alignment, not fear, trust, not shrinking, expansion, not forcing, receiving, not repeating, becoming. You are becoming now, and this month is meeting you in that becoming. The universe is meeting you in that becoming. Life is meeting you in that becoming. Every honest choice becomes part of the path. Every moment of trust becomes part of the opening. Every time you release what no longer matches, the higher timeline becomes easier to enter, and you are entering it slowly, clearly, powerfully. You are entering the reality that matches your growth, the reality that honors your energy, the reality that supports your expansion, the reality that allows you to become more fully yourself. This is not about becoming someone else. It is about becoming less afraid of who you already are, less afraid of your power, less afraid of your desires, less afraid of receiving, less afraid of being seen, less afraid of letting life become good. Let that be your shift this month. Let life become good. Let life become clearer. Let life become softer. Let life become more abundant. Let life become more aligned. Let the universe show you that the higher timeline is not only something you imagine. It is something you begin living through your energy, through your choices, through your trust, through your willingness to stop returning to the old story. You are allowed to stop returning to the old story. You are allowed to let it end. You are allowed to let this month become the beginning of something higher. So breathe and release the old energy from your body. Release the pressure to know every answer. Release the fear that says good things cannot stay. Release the guilt that appears when you choose more. Release the old belief that your life must always feel hard before it can feel meaningful. You are allowed to enter a softer timeline, a wealthier timeline, a freer timeline, a clearer timeline, a timeline where you trust the universe and also trust the person you are becoming. You are not separate from the universe. You are part of life moving, part of timing forming, part of energy shifting, part of creation unfolding. And when you trust your own becoming, you are trusting the movement of life through you. This month, let life move through you in a higher way. Let your choices reflect the higher timeline. Let your energy become available for what is aligned. Let your mind stop rehearsing the old fear. Let your body become safe with receiving. Let your spirit rise into the truth that more is possible now. More is possible now. More peace, more abundance, more clarity, more love, more freedom, more alignment, more of the life that finally feels like it recognizes you. Take one final deep breath and let this truth settle deeply. The universe is opening your higher timeline this month. Your energy is rising to meet it. Your life is beginning to shift around it. Your future is becoming more connected to it. And you are becoming the version of yourself who belongs inside it, not by force, not by pressure, not by pretending, but by trusting, by choosing, by receiving, by releasing, by becoming more honest with the life that is calling you forward. This month is not random. This doorway is not random. This shift is not random. Your higher timeline is opening. And from this moment forward, allow yourself to move like someone who knows the universe is guiding them into more. Because it is. The universe is guiding you into more. More truth, more peace, more abundance, more freedom, more trust, more of the version of life your soul has been waiting to enter. And now, the door is open. If you're ready to stay aligned with this energy, I created a 31-day manifestation journal for you. The link is in the description. Thank you for being here.